Hey, this is E from Bitcoin Kindergarten. Also an NFT maker for Cybercats. I just want to come on today and answer any questions you have. And I just want to talk about why is the news so bad? Because 2 days ago, it was announced that El Salvador is making their legal tender Bitcoin. They were using the US dollar, and now in their website for their page, it's Bitcoin and the US dollar. So that's amazing. And not only did they announce that, but then they announced that they were making energy from volcanoes so they could do Bitcoin mining from volcanoes. So like a huge issue in Bitcoin lately, something that Elon Musk brought up and a lot of people bring up, is that Bitcoin takes a lot of electricity to mine. So they say it's not green, this and that, but I mean, everyone has it's a big debate, but the debate is sure that a lot of companies have gone green to figure out how to mine Bitcoin, without using the traditional power. If you're new to the channel and you want to get my videos, you want to come on and ask me any question, this is Bitcoin Kindergarten. No question is too stupid. And you can repeat the same question over and over. That's how we learn. So smash the like, hit the bell button, and all, so you can get the updates when I come on. So basically, this amazing news comes out that El Salvador has adopted Bitcoin for their legal tender. Then right after that, Paraguay said they are coming out too, and they want to make Bitcoin a hub also of green mining. Also in El Salvador, there will be no capital gains tax because crypto is the money. We don't pay capital gains tax on our savings account that I know of. And then Brazil also said interest. Mexico also came out and had interest. I think Georgia and maybe Ukraine have also expressed interest. All of a sudden, all of these countries who have been so tied to the dollar, or else just tied to another country or another money that they're not so happy about, are breaking free and branching out into Bitcoin. So, now everyone's gone crazy. Elizabeth Warren, made a lot of announcements about how corrupt and horrible Bitcoin is. Donald Trump also is coming out with bad words about Bitcoin. Goldman Sachs has come out to say, oh, they see huge bearish bad news coming in the future for Bitcoin. A year ago, Goldman Sachs said that Bitcoin was a scam. Then 6 months ago, they started, investing in it and having digital asset products because they realized, how big and how fast the crypto and DeFi, decentralized finance market is moving. So, a year ago, they're like, oh, we're offering, NFTs, we're offering products. And now they're like, oh, well, things are not looking good. So why, I think it's related. I think that the world is getting a little nervous about all of these little tiny countries, all of a sudden becoming superstars. This president of El Salvador is very good looking. He's young. He's at the Bitcoin conference. Yeah, we're totally changing to Bitcoin. And then they do it in a few days. Not like if it happened in the United States, it would take 5 to 10 to 20 years. So it's a very powerful move. Bitcoin is fast becoming the global currency. I think it might be after the dollar and the euro. It might be the third largest currency in circulation. So there's a huge power grab that's going on. And you always hear bad news in the press about Bitcoin. Not always, but 100 times more bad press than us in the crypto world are hearing. I never really watched the news. That's, I think, how I was able to get into crypto. I never had that fear, of oh, it's bad, it's this. I've only been in the crypto community where it's this amazing thing that's changing lives and getting money into the hands of a lot of people and out of the hands of the banks and out of the hands of the countries, So I think it's a huge power grab. Nobody's really saying that, but it's money. I mean, a lot of politics just comes down to money. Okay, what is the future for people who don't even know about Bitcoin? That's my question. Hi, Sandra. No, well, that's why we're here. Everybody's gonna know. I mean, that's why I always tell my friends to get some Bitcoin. because even if you get like $100 worth, it might be worth 10,000 in a few years. I mean, it probably will be. So I feel like people who don't know about Bitcoin, I mean, they're at a disadvantage really, because everyone should have some. Like, I have videos where you can buy $1 on CashApp. I mean, you can just do it now by yourself. Or you can buy $20 worth of Bitcoin, or even $10 worth on Coinbase. So, or you can find a peer-to-peer. Like, the amazing thing about Bitcoin is, like, as long as you have a cell phone, and technically you don't even need a cell phone, you just need the code. You just need that 48 alphanumeric code. So, then you can use this thing. You don't need a bank. That's what El Salvador, only 70% of people don't have a bank. And a lot of reason Bitcoin was created was to bypass banks. Nobody's getting these fees. There are miners' fees, but that's just like in the program. It's made in the program that was initially launched 13 years ago. It doesn't change. Like, if one miner is like corrupt, he's not going to get more than the nice guy miner, which is really kind of nice. Let's see, what is the future for people who don't even know about Bitcoin? Like, I mean, more and more people are gonna know about it. I feel a little bit bad, like, say, for my parents. All of these people who've bought this like American way of just working super hard and putting all this money in their 401k and their retirement fund, and in the stock market. I mean, the stock market can crash and they can lose their money, and they're losing a lot of money to inflation. And Bitcoin, you may or may not know, there will only ever be 21 million ever mined. And and then it's done. That's why Bitcoin is so expensive. For one right now, it's like $36,000 for what? You don't need one. You just need like a 0.00. You just need a 0.01. So while my money is growing by 200% a year, because that's the average growth of what Bitcoin grows because of deflation and because the whole world is coming on, the rest of the money, like, they're printing money. Every time they print money, somebody said this, like, every time they print money, it's like stealing from you, because it's like, your money isn't so exclusive anymore. Like, now there's so much more of your money that it's worth less with every printing. So there's a lot of inflation coming down the pike with all the money printing, which is a lot of the reason why Bitcoin is just shot up like crazy, because the pandemic really just made the mass adoption accelerate faster, because all these countries are printing money, and anyone who kind of knows basic supply and demand economics, is like, well, how's their money still going to be worth a lot if they just keep making more, like, whenever they need it? Anybody have any other questions? So, I mean, Bitcoin is just known, and people who are older or people who chose not to get into it are going to be at a disadvantage. That's why I tell all of my friends, even if you get the tiniest amount, get it, because many people say that if you have even 0.1 Bitcoin, you're going to be in the rich 1% later on, because, like I said, since there's only 21 million ever made, that means there's just a limited supply. So you just get some, and then you have a little piece of that pie, if it does turn out to be the global currency, which it does seem to be being. And if it's not a global currency, it's certainly like a store of wealth, like gold. And except for with gold, you have to carry it around. With Bitcoin, if you have your passphrase memorized, you can go anywhere in the world and you can cover it. I'm gonna go. I don't have much to say if nobody has any questions. But everyone should get a little Bitcoin. And also, not only that, but once you get a little bit, you start understanding it, you get interested in it, and then, like this happened, so many of us who got into Bitcoin, it's completely life-changing. All of a sudden, you learn about math, you learn about technology, you learn about finance, like things that just weren't interesting before, because before, finance was just something like, which was just depressing, basically. Like, yeah, money, But when you get into crypto, you realize, wow, it's really if you're listening to this video, you are in early. You're an early adopter. You have more information than most people, although it's growing, at a hugely fast rate, especially now with this country becoming using Bitcoin. I don't know when the second one's going to come, but it's happening fast. Like all of a sudden, all these little countries are coming on board. So many countries have so much to gain. And in countries like Venezuela and Argentina, maybe it's not an official tender, but it is something that a lot of people are using, even though it was very expensive. You live in Venezuela to get Bitcoin, or even in Argentina, because on their exchanges, they don't have like Coinbase. They have to, I don't know how they get it, but they have even a higher rate, and then they have a low dollar, a low money value, but they're like, our money gets inflated like crazy, so it's just worthless. So even if you just buy a little bit of Bitcoin, it's worth way better than to have a whole bunch of, Argentinian pesos. So, I mean, that's why I got into crypto, because I understood, and I lived in Mexico, there was a devaluation of the money, and you wake up one day and your money's only worth like 25% less, and you're like, ooh, that's not good, and mostly it's happening over and over on a lot faster rate than it happens in the United States. Like the money is deflating, worth less and less and less. Now, if you go to Mexico, your $10 is worth like $150 there. Literally, you can get like a big long taxi ride, for like $10. And here you can't. So if you have Bitcoin, your Bitcoin is growing. It's not just devaluing. And see, the rates of devaluation is higher in other countries, like Zimbabwe, crazy, Argentina, Venezuela. Some are just like outrageously awful. You wake up every day and your money is just worth nothing. Countries like Cuba, like their money's not worth much either. So you get a little tiny bit of Bitcoin, just get, whatever you can afford. It is not just for rich people. I mean, of course, the richer you are, the more you have, and the richer you are. But, if you just get a little bit, I was completely broke when I started. I owed $25,000 in debt and had no money in the bank, like $5 in the bank, and just putting, even $5. I've even bought $1 worth of Bitcoin, $5, $10, $100, $1,000. Whenever I got any money, I would just keep putting it. And then it did really grow, because now I've been in for like almost 4 years. So just the longer you're in and the longer you hold your Bitcoin, the bigger it gets. People are going crazy saying they're losing tons of money, this and that. Like, we had a huge high rate, and then it crashed quite a bit down from there. So Bitcoin got up to $65,000 for one, and now it's crashed all the way back now to 36. But frankly, I bought most of my Bitcoin when it was like 3,000, 5,000, 8,000. 10,000 was like the most expensive I bought Bitcoin at. So just imagine that if you're buying it now, like 2 or 3 years down the way, when it's worth $100,000, $200,000 for one, you're like, well, I bought all my Bitcoin at 55,000, and people are like, wow, that's amazing, because 3 years before I started, people were buying Bitcoin for $100 for one. They just got a whole bunch of Bitcoins, So it's fun, it's interesting, and it's very fascinating. I gotta run. Have a great day. Don't forget to hit the likes. Put a comment below. Always helps the algorithm. Take care. Put your questions there. Ciao.